Okay, so we are live for ADA Fair Housing Board meeting Monday, June 7th. I'm Elizabeth, and I'm going to go ahead and take roll. Jeff Berkowitz.
Present.
Eddie Brown is absent. Diane Corso.
Present.
Kathy Linz is absent. Brian Stanley.
Yes, here.
Martha Thompson.
Here.
Kathleen Wickens.
Here.
I'm told Commissioner Poole is running a bit late. Is Deb Eversole here? She may be logging in as Fair Housing Rep. Aaron Klein, City Engineer, is here. And then we have Megan Stuckey, Engineering Project Coordinator, and Josh Snyder, Public Works Engineer, are here as well. I'll turn it over to you, Jeff.
Thank you. And this is the last meeting Elizabeth will be running. She informed me, but that's okay. I'll pout after the meeting. First agenda is approving of the minutes from the January 1st, 2021. It seems like it's been forever since we got together. You should have already got a copy of those minutes from Elizabeth, or somebody sent them out, or Megan sent them out. I need a motion to accept the minutes.
So move.
I have a first. I need a second.
I'll second.
Second. You have a first and second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye, or
Aye.
wave your hand. Or
Aye.
aye. Or you can unmute yourself and just say aye, because I have two people on screen.
Aye.
That motion does carry. Introduction, new business. We have the Public Works Engineer with us, so we're going to let you go first and tell us what the Public Works Engineer does and projects you have in mind, and nothing like throwing you right under the bus, huh?
Sure, yeah. So my name is Josh Snyder. I've been with the city since 2019, and it's my second dance with City of Sandusky. I was here from 1999 to 2008. So some of the people and some of the projects I'm familiar with here in Sandusky, but most immediately we have you've probably read about a pretty large resurfacing project going on, and that's just getting underway. Camp Street's also beginning construction that's more involved. There's some full depth reconstruction on Camp Street between Washington and Monroe. But the resurfacing project is 150 street segments throughout the city. So those are just getting underway and ramping up. And so we're looking forward to those, and we know the conditions of the roads, and it's a big issue for many people. So that's those are some of the more popular projects we have going on right now.
When did you say the beginning? You said Camp Street first now?
Camp Street will begin next week, and that will be full depth reconstruction. The center of that still has railroad tracks, ties under it. So
Okay.
So that will involve excavation and be a little slower than simply grinding the road out and putting new pavement back down.
Isn't it always fun when you find interesting things underground?
Hey, our city's 200 years old. It's what comes with it, right?
From where to where? I mean, I read it in the paper, but tell me again.
Yeah. So Camp Street is from Washington to Monroe Street.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you give us an update on Perkins Avenue? Because I travel that a lot. Going to work is nice and smooth. Going back home on the west end of town is a little more challenging.
Yeah, Perkins Avenue, City Commission just approved us to enter into contract for design on that. As you know, the south side, the south half, Perkins Township side was resurfaced 2019, and our project lagged behind because we have more extensive work to do. Specifically, the water line needs replaced. We could have paved it when they paved, but it would have been bad money spent, knowing that we had a
Tear it back up again.
poor water line underneath that.
Right.
So we're beginning design services for that. It's almost 2 miles long, our section from 52nd Street to the bridge, Mills Creek Bridge, west of the YMCA. And so it will take some time for design, but then we're going to, once we get design nailed down, we're going to chase some grant dollars to help offset our commitment there.
Yeah, that's
Do
a-
any of the projects include sidewalks or intersection changes?
Use your mic, Ms. Corso, so they can hear you if they're watching.
Do any of the projects contain sidewalks or intersection changes?
The Camp Street project will involve ramp upgrades at the intersections, and then we have sidewalk, limited sidewalk replacement on the Perkins Avenue project. Those two do.
Elizabeth, is there a password so I can pull up the agenda on my phone?
I'm not going to give you.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
And project coordinator, Megan,
Hello.
that's a big title.
Yeah, it's a big title. It's a big job.
I was going to say, why do I have the feeling it comes with a lot of
It does. I get to work with
moving parts?
three really great engineers. So with Director Klein, Josh Snyder, and then we have Jane in our office. So I've been with the city for 10 years now. I started in the building department, and then I moved into the engineering department a few years after that. So as you know, I act as a project coordinator. I do a lot of the behind-the-scenes work with all these projects, where it comes with community relations or, paying bills and keeping track of everything, so the engineers can do what they're good at. I have previously clerked here for the ADA board a few years back, before Elizabeth started, and then she gratefully took it on. But now I'm coming back at it, so I'm happy to be with you guys and happy to help, so.
Well, we're glad to have you on board. We do have another meeting set for the 13th, something that was not added to the agenda because I didn't think of it till after we already bid this out, so it's not, it's my fault. I get a lot of mail. Sometimes it gets lost. The 4th of July event. I'm going to throw this out to everybody. I talked to Congressman Poole about this. I have several concerns on that 4th of July event. The one is we still technically are supposed to be doing social distancing, which is going to be next to impossible where they always put us. The second concern I have is the demographics of our volunteers. We're not a real young board. We have some people that have special needs that aren't as healthy as they should be. The brochures we have are completely out of date as far as anything to do with fair housing and ADA, including if you read the thing last meeting where the board, highly recommended by the National Association of Realtors, is now encouraging hate speech to be a part of federal fair housing and different things to do with that, which we have nothing addressed in that because that really has not come up, Our numbers are low, but we are still right at 50 per 100,000 new cases a day, which if you do the math, that's 30 in Erie County. Now, they are mild cases, but some, like I said, some of our members are not, volunteers are not the healthiest volunteers. They are more likely to be exposed to something because I can tell you from being on Put-in-Bay last weekend, it was a zoo. And everybody on that entire island has been vaccinated and passed a 2-week warranty. Because the only mask you saw was the Miller Boat Line, and Billy Market's still making his guys wear the mask. And I asked Billy, I said, Billy, get a little bonfire, burn them masks. It's getting hot on them boats. And these guys were working. I throw out to you, and charter does not say we have to have this meeting. We do not have to have a presence downtown on the 4th. There are, last year, 3 other organizations. 2 years ago, we didn't have it last year. 3 other organizations, nonprofit organizations, that in one form or another either has information on fair housing or information on ADA. Checking with HUD in the past, they don't get a lot of fair housing issues here in Sandusky. We do a very good job, and that would be where somebody would first start if they felt that they were somehow being discriminatory, that they were a protected class. Most landlords I know gladly work with anybody that they say, hey, I need a ramp, they're going to put the ramps in. I have on occasion had to modify one of my units, and it turned out to be one of the best renters I've had because they tend to be very, very grateful that landlords will invest the time and the money and make it a thing. And that was even before I started sitting on this board. But I throw that out to all of you. Is this something we want to do? It is on a Sunday, which is going to make it a little difficult, you know. Some people will have like a Monday holiday. Do you guys get the Monday off since the 4th fall? So so it is going to break up some people's week, you know. We're a little different than, you know, when it falls on a weekday and that, and then you can still have your activities. You know, I am committed to the Put-in-Bay Yacht Club. I am Vice Commodore this year, so they have a whole gambit of events that I'm supposed to be doing. One is to come up with games to entertain the little darlings, which having a daycare gives me some advantage in that. I'll just get my administrator to say, okay, put some games together that I can haul over the island. But I throw it out to all you on the floor now. And what are your thoughts? I did talk to Mr. Poon. He said he would be running late on Friday. He said, when I gave over my points that I just gave you, he also agreed. He said, those are valid points. He said, you have trouble getting volunteers. There are duplications. You know, we have tons and tons of brochures that we've never gave out that aren't dated. You know, unless I show up with Tootsie Rolls, that's about the only time somebody stops to see or they stop to visit with somebody. I have not, in all the ones I've done, actually had anybody ever come up and say, hey, talk to me more about fair housing. I've got a complaint. Talk to me more about ADA. You know, what are responsibilities are businesses, what responsibilities are landlords, you know, what responsibilities do the municipalities have? And I think Sandusky has done a great job compared to other cities I visit as far as easy access to the parks, easy access to sidewalks, you know, easy access to parking. You know, but I'm gonna stop talking now and let you all jump in, but don't everybody jump in at once.
I'm fine with that. With all the things that you said, I think that's fine. I don't know that there's been an overwhelming,
Interest.
there you go,
Thank you.
interest, or necessarily whether or not that's really the venue or the avenue. I mean, certainly it's nice for us to have a presence down there, but I don't really know that that is where someone who is having a housing issue or an ADA issue is going to go to seek information, especially in this day and age of technology. most everyone, irregardless of your socioeconomic status, does have access or utilizes some sort of device that gives them that ability to kind of have a starting point. So I'm not sure that this is the only place that people would get the information if they were to need it.
Yeah, and I try and keep my present, I'm pretty present, in the community, different things.
Yeah, so I think that that's
And you are
probably a
too,
very
and-
fair, yeah. I mean, I have lots of conversations regarding issues in relation to that. So, yeah, I don't think it's necessary at this time.
Who do I have out there? Brian, your thoughts?
Yeah, I would tend to agree. I mean, I think it's nice to have a presence at these events. Although you're right, nobody's really coming up with complaints. It's more just what kind of handouts, what do you have as far as candy there, Jeff? That's really the only thing I've seen over the past couple of years that I've sat in on it. I think it might be more valuable if we would maybe put a couple valuable links on the city's page with the ADA Fair Housing Board page to help guide anyone that does have any questions. Have a little more access to the website and the event at the park. So I would be fine with not participating.
If I could just jump in here really quickly, this is Kathy. I did have a lot of people stopping and talking about ADA issues, not so much regarding the city, it was more disability questions and comments, and maybe it was just socialization, but wasn't there a gentleman last year who had a son with special needs and he ended up coming to one of our meetings? I don't think he would have known about that had we not been there.
Not that I'm aware of.
There was a gentleman that came regarding an adaptive playground. He came to one of the meetings. He also receives, there's also other connections there.
I'll throw this out to Megan. Good idea from Brian. Is it possible to put on the city's website a contact, Fair Housing, ADA, the board? I have no problem taking phone calls or having people reach out to me either through the city directly or through their concern directly to me.
I would say whatever information you want to provide on the website, if you want to put it down in an email or in a document, we could submit that through to the city manager's office and then let them decide or see where the best place for that information would be. But yeah, I think that's acceptable.
We'll take that responsibility to send something to the city for the website.
Jeff, there is a tab that has all of the committees, and it has the ADA committee on there. I'm not sure who it uses as the contact person, so
Okay.
maybe it could just be as simple as adding that information to that, proposing that.
Or you can tell I've never seen that tab.
I saw it just this morning. I was
Yeah.
looking for something else.
Although I do like the fact that they have a lot of these Zoom meetings, because I get to 10 meetings I never would be able to attend.
It's under
Like-
boards and commissions.
The Shoreline Park one and the Historic Society.
Yeah, it's under current boards and commissions. It's
Oh,
under
okay.
the current boards and commissions members tab. So. maybe
Who's
we
to
could
give us a
just-
contact point? We're going to assign that to Megan now.
Yeah, it says Elizabeth.
So all we do is just have to make that change to that. And Megan, I'll have to get you, because I have Elizabeth's direct number, so I'm sure I'll get your direct number, but I
Yeah,
promise. I
that's
don't-
fine. I would say if you want anything on there besides what's there, just submit it and we can put it through the manager's office for review.
I'll pull it up and look at the site, see if there's anything that, can be changed or tweaked or added to. I don't think Mr. Poole's going to make our meeting today. He said he'd try, but he may be parked somewhere because he was on his bike, it's raining.
It's just sprinkling, he'll be all right. I would say I agree with Diane as well. my only concern is, I'm president of our church, and I know that there's a great majority of our elderly that do not have web access or the ability, the technology to even figure that out. It is nice to have our presence known because it isn't something that you think about every day. But the other thing with having it at the 4th of July is how many elderly and disabled are there. Being a chair user, yeah, I know where the ramps are and I can get everywhere. I mean, I work, I get it, but there's many that aren't that accessible or because they're manual chairs or, like he said, there's multiple health issues, which would have them not be in a situation like that. I know, like I said, we've struggled to make sure that we've been in contact with our church members because the only way to reach many of them is by mail. But if it comes out in the city letter, it's making the presence known because it's not, I mean, are there people that we could help that don't know about us? But again, will they be at the 4th of July? Probably not.
Yeah.
If they have those kind of issues. So I agree, but like I said, there is the problem of you can't rely on the website for everything and Zoom meetings. I mean, I've held meetings where barely made quorum because they couldn't, I mean, they could call in, I mean, we had different modes for them to get into these meetings, but it's tricky because many of them don't. More than I thought until we got started.
You brought up a good idea in terms of there is, I know I get it at my house. It's a newsletter. I cannot identify the frequency, whether it's quarterly or if it's
Okay.
every 6 months that we do get from the city.
Right.
Maybe we could
Put a
put
blip
a,
in there.
a small,
Just so that they're
informational.
aware,
If you have,
because-
if you have concerns, this is the contact person. That would be a nice
Yeah, I
thing
mean,
to do, maybe
As
one time a
a
year.
chair user, I have to think before I go anywhere about parking, because I have a ramp that comes out the side of my car, which today I parked around the corner and then had to come up, here comes Wes, come up to the corner for the ramp. I mean, it was fine because it was just sprinkling and I don't melt, but it's, I have to think about all those things and, those parking spots are this way. So, I had to make sure that my ramp wouldn't disagree with that a little bit and, because parking downtown is hard for me. Because I either have to be on an end, on the outside, but then my ramp opens onto the street when I park over there. Somebody comes around the corner and hits it, I'm done. So, I mean, there's things that people that really don't, I never understood, and even as a nurse, they don't teach you this kind of stuff, that how much I have to think about where I'm going and how to park, and, gravel or, unfriendly terrain, curbings, it's way more than you think. I mean, it's a daily thing for me. I mean, just even go to the grocery store, you gotta think about where to park, how you're gonna load your vehicle. Because I do all those things myself, but it's in my brain 24/7, so. But that may not be the place. Yeah, there's ramps, they can get up and go here and go there, there's sidewalks, but again, if there's somebody that's not as adventurous maybe as me or whatever, they wouldn't be out. Plus, I
Well,
work at Cedar Point and 99.9% chance I'll be working there.
and if history, demographics-wise, there's a lot of families with kids. And we know how kids move, any which way they want to go. So that was always one of my concerns is a safety issue. What if? And the city, and I did sit on this board also, which is the community development, their 5-year plan. They had in that budget $10,000 in that budget that deals with fair housing and that. So there is an outlet, and that was very interesting to watch how they divvy up all that money and everybody trying to get their quarters here and nickels there. That was quite, I think. We have our oldest ranking city commissioner with us finally.
I just got off work. Took a bit to drive here.
Yep. We were discussing at least short-term, not setting up, as you and I talked on Friday, about doing anything on the 4th of July, because we still do have Kobe, we still do have social distancing, we still do have issues with volunteers. The material we have, just bring you up to speed so you don't have to watch this later. That the material we have is very, very outdated and doesn't reflect some of the new things that have come down both on a federal and state level, you know. And even some counties in the state of Ohio have different language in their fair housing. You can supersede, so one of the rare times that you can actually supersede federal law with state law, as long as it's more inclusive. Yeah. You're in the right seat. Any updates from the city you can share with us?
No, these guys would be more likely to give you updates now. There's nothing at the commission level that I need to share. Thank you for asking.
I figure as long as you were here, we could put you on the spot.
It's okay.
Any other discussion about 4th of July? Please express it now. Gathered, I scribbled little notes. From what I gathered, the consensus is that our time may be better used in other outreaches. I'm sure a lot of us sit on different boards. That may be a board you sit on to mention, hey, do you realize the city of Sandusky does have a fair housing and ADA committee? One year I brought our board president from the Fireland Association of Realtors, who's in Tiffin. You would think with 2 universities down there, they would be pretty progressive. They have nothing like that. She was shocked that the city of Sandusky does, and a university, not one, but 2 universities, city does not have any organization that addresses fair housing and civil rights and ADA. So she thought that was quite impressive for a city that's about the same size. That is all I have, unless anybody else has anything that they would like to. See, Megan, I told you under an hour. I ran over one time. I said, Elizabeth, I said, we'll never do that again. Because I value all your time, you know, especially, you know, on a 1 o'clock where it kind of breaks up the whole week. I would entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Can I say one thing?
Yes.
Yeah, I listened, she was talking about parking. This doesn't deal specifically with handicap, but it occurs to me, and it's something I've noticed downtown, this is for staff and Josh. The downtown angle parking that we have now, it might be of advantage if we widen those spaces. We may lose one on each block, but I think going forward, vehicles are bigger, vehicles are bigger. Everyone that's handicapped is not necessarily, they're going to find a parking space, they're not necessarily wheelchair bound. It would just make it a nicer experience for everyone if you added 3 to 6 inches, whatever it is you can to each space. On the angles, there's 22, I think, on each block. And just adding some space there would give it the ability for folks to get out of their vehicles a little easier, not scratching them and so forth. So just a
Can I
thought.
weigh in on
And
that?
I find going forward, other places that I've gone, that cities aren't just making spaces bigger. The idea is to not try and cram as many cars into a block as you can, but recognizing that the the experience of people getting in and out of the vehicles is good. I noticed on Market Street that you lengthened those parking spaces in the 100 block of Market Street going toward by J Bistro in that direction. That's a good thing. Losing one space on a block and being able to have 21 spaces that are extremely user-friendly I think is a good thing. So just want to pass that on.
That's a good thought. That's why we like having these meetings and have you here. Because if you do have a side discharge wheelchair
Yeah.
ramp, some of them spaces, you're not going to be able to use.
Well, my ramp is 6 foot long.
Yeah.
I have to get off the ramp and turn to go in either direction, so I need at least 8 feet.
Yeah.
There aren't many spots in this city ever, Kroger's.
Yeah.
About the only one. Like I said, I have to find an end spot and either back into it, pull into it, but then I'm discharging into someplace where somebody could hit me and tear the ramp off my car. It's extremely difficult. Downtown is a nightmare for me because parking is not friendly for me.
And even when Rich and I go out, if we park and he brings my manual chair, if it's just, smaller, like some of them are, it's really difficult to get the door open wide enough for him to get the wheelchair close enough for me to get into. So having a few extra inches can make a big difference.
So Josh, the engineers, you're working on this, and this was basically just when we repaint, to just scooch an inch here, an inch there, on, like you said, from 22 parking spots to 20, that one would give extra inches and that, but I don't think anybody do it without having a great deal of cost other than we just have to repaint the strips.
You got to pay them every year anyway.
And some of them need repainted pretty bad anyway. 'Cause-
Yeah.
Anything else for the good of the organization? I'm glad to see some of you in person. It's been a long year. No. I know. I was very happy that they didn't shut down real estate like Pennsylvania and Michigan did. As it was, I was spending way too much time with my wife. I would entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So moved.
I have a first. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second.
I have a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Or wave.
Aye.
Hi.